And I'm going to do that with all the green area. Come back just a tiny bit more water in the green and continue painting. Very carefully filling in. It's almost like a coloring book, isn't it? And now I'm going to paint over my brown oil pastels. And notice I made those crisscrosses with the oil pastels. It's a slightly different color of brown, a little different shade, and it resists, doesn't it? Look how nice that turns out. Remember when I told you if I wanted something to stay white, I would just color it with my white pastel, and now I'm going to paint my water. Notice that some of it isn't sticking. I wonder why. What does that look like?
Dolphin?
Like the waves.
You used your white
Like little
pastel and
waves.
you made waves.
And I made waves, didn't I? Now, some of you may want to mix colors. So if you want to mix colors, you have to do it this way. You take, with your brush, you take water out of your cup and squeeze it into the tray lid like that. Notice I've got some good water there. And I'm going to put a lot of it because I want to paint all that area right there, kind of a golden brown color. The brown that I have is too dark. So I'm going to put the brown in there first. A bit of brown. Notice how light that is. Okay, squeeze the water out of there. Put my brush in the water here again. Now I'm going to I'm going to go yellow with it and make it a little lighter. I'm going to put that in there. And look how nice and gold that is. I've got lots of gold paint now to put over here to make it look more like sand. Because if this were yellow, it wouldn't look right. And if it were brown, it wouldn't look right either. So I wanted it to be a little on the gold side. And I can paint right over my brown trunks of my trees. All that sand. So do you get the idea how we're supposed to do that? Okay, great. With your finger on the clean brush, kind of taper your brush this way, and then lay it in the slot of the watercolor tray, and then close it to make sure it snaps. That's because the brush, let me see the brush. All right, now we're going to finish up with what I call an assessment. Okay, the assessment, boys and girls, is going to involve reviewing these terms for our landscapes. And you should have something that represents each one of these in each of your landscapes that you have in front of you. So what I'd like you to do is turn to your neighbor, pick a neighbor, and I would like you to show your neighbor where your background is. Point to the background. Now share where the middle ground is. Point to something in the middle ground. Now point to the foreground. Show the person next to you the foreground. You can show me one. What's in your foreground? All this stuff right down there, you bet. Now we're going to do two things. I want you to describe to your neighbor what is cropped in your picture and what overlaps. Boys and girls, today you had your lesson in making landscapes. And we saw how they applied to seascapes as well as cityscapes. And we learned some new vocabulary today. First of all, the word landscape for a style of painting. Okay, then we studied which of these? Background, middle ground, foreground, cropping, overlapping. Good job. Now you have some beautiful landscapes to put up in your room, and I hope you enjoy those.
For a lesson plan and a list of today's supplies, or to see this episode of Art Is online, go to kvpt.org and click on Art Is.
Art Is was made possible by a grant from the Bonner Family Foundation in support of the arts and education.